What's up, ladies and gentlemen? BingeWorthy. We're here again doing Star Trek Discovery Season 3. It's the latest and greatest of Star Trek. We've gave you the last 2 weeks. If you haven't heard what we said for the last 2 weeks about what we think of Star Trek Discovery, y'all should go check those out first and come back to see what we're talking about Season 3. But yeah, since you're live streaming, y'all should watch this, then go back and watch it later. I'm going to start out with Star Trek Discovery Season 3. They jumped into the future, way into the future. You know, Michael Burnham, besides
years.
Yes, 130 years. What's up?
Oh, they jumped 900 years.
930 years.
It was
900 years.
It was like 937, I think.
36, yes, like 36 in the 30s. Yeah.
They jumped 1,000
all we know
years.
is everybody they knew in their real life is dead. They're dead. So Michael Burnham, if y'all not familiar with her, she's our protagonist throughout the show, and she was in the angel suit, and she jumped 930 years into the future, and then she was hoping to send a signal back to Discovery to come to the future. I'm going to start going around Robin. I'm going to introduce my other host, Charles Babb. And for those that don't know what BingeWorthy is the show where we binge a whole entire season or a whole entire show in the week, and we tell you and let you know if it's binge-worthy or not. Is it worth binging? That's what everybody wants to know. In the age of streaming, that's what everybody wants to know. So I'm going to start with Cortney Scott Wright, our resident Star Trek lover.
We got to follow up behind her.
That's what I'm saying. Let me go last.
Wow.
Let me turn in my notebook. Notebook.
Okay. We'll start with Syntell, since Syntell is like, we got to go last. Go, Mr. Syntell. I want to hear this.
All right, listen, you know I'm very objective when it comes to storytelling. And for me, we've had this conversation privately. And I think
high level, dog. Keep it high level. We'll dig into the bones later.
Yeah. All right. So to me, the essential parts of storytelling is you have to bring some type of emotion to the forefront, right? If you're telling a story and emotion is not evoked, then what are you doing, right? So one of my problems that I had with season 1 was that some of the relationships weren't necessarily as solid as they could be. Season 2, they kind of like, you know, they definitely upgraded. In season 3, they turned it all the way up to the point that it was almost too much. Like every single episode is like, oh my God, do I have to get another box of Kleenex again? Like it was super, super heavy. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's the gift and the curse. Season 3 had a lot to live up to. In a lot of ways it did, and in some ways it fell a little short. But overall, it's definitely something to talk about, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. I loved it, and I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you all.
Okay. Randy, what do you think?
Me to hop
Randy?
in here?
Yeah, go on, hop in here.
Okay, well, I just love the fact that the writers, the producers, whoever had the balls to go into the future 930 years, right? So with this show, it's like we're getting a new show because all the kind of previous things that we had in Star Trek, they've changed. We got different relationships with the Romulans and the Vulcans, right? The Federation's relationship, Earth's relationship. So everything has changed. So it's almost like we got a new series. With that being said, to me, I did find a few plots in the season that I thought were a little contrived. And so I'm going to talk about those as we go out through our examination.
Okay. I'm not going to give any input right now. I'm just going to turn to our resident Star Trek lover and thespian and a bibliographer and essayist and PhD holder.
Stop it.
Cortney Scott Wright.
I got a PhD in Star Trek.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I don't. So it's interesting. I have to agree. My feelings were a little bit similar to Randy. Definitely elements. They did amp up the emotional revenue, I will say, in season 3. They went for the money. They brought back and answered certain questions about certain relationships that, you know, we had we were left with in season 2. Questions about Michael Burnham and her mother, and will they reconnect? Because it is 900 years in the future, but we also know her mother is there. So where is that character?
Yep.
It deepens a lot of relationships between our main heroine and Georgiou, who is one of my favorite characters. Georgiou can do no wrong, even though I know that she skates the line. There was a beautiful arc for her character. So I do think that there are some contrived plot lines that were a little much for me. I don't think that they were necessarily necessary, but I understand why they were there. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to jump straight into this because there's a lot to unpack in this season. And I'm going to save my comments to the very end when we're actually rating this sucker. The first up, The Hope Is You, part 1.
I would like
right?
to, I would like to start at a superfluous place that has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that Michael Burnham's hair. She grew some braid. Who braided that hair in 3 months? I just want to know.
And I want to know what's braided that hair. Planet, right?
Book the Queen, girl.
Fucking
Queen Brown.
It's the year 3188. They got braiders, dog. She had
a hollow braider. She got it braided in a hologram.
The most booming industry in America in the world right now is black women's hair. I'm sure in the future they have technology to handle that.
They're just like automatically we are 900 years into a future that was already 900 years ahead of us.
You got 1,000 years of perfecting the Hawaiian silky. It's gonna be right. It's gonna be right.
What I'm saying? Okay. Well, let me tell you, I want that hollow deck braider. Okay, I want that hollow deck braider.
Every day her hair could have been different. She black.
Every day her hair was different. I mean, we literally had a montage.
Yeah, they did. They had the short, the kind of afro, and then she had the braids.
Courtney.
In 3 months.
It's 3188, Courtney.
Okay,
black girls are dying for that right now. We know that.
Stop
we know
it.
that. So Michael Burnham, she's in the future. She crashes down on the ship. Burnham crashes into the ship. Cleveland Booker, a courier transporting stolen cargo. And she hops off. The first thing she does is thank him, and then she commits to whoop that ass. What do y'all think? He
kind of tried to put hands on her and pull a lot of gun on her, right?
Yo, somebody crashed into your ship?
Exactly. She crashed into his ship. There really wasn't a whole lot of communication, you know what I'm saying, in between these two people. They just kind of went at it. I do understand that Burnham was obviously a little, disconnected. She just flew through space. Her team is not there. I don't know where I am. I don't know when I am. Did I land in the right spot? This doesn't look like Terra Elysium. Like, what's happening? Like, all of the things. And I think she did try and talk to him, basic first contact, but he was having none of it.
Right,
he was having none of it. He was like, you just ran my shit. Yeah, he didn't care.
Her name. So I thought she was justified in that.
I did. I agree.
Let me get a shout out to Saniqua Martin Green. If she crashed in my ship, we would have had a whole different conversation.
Good Lord.
Ass whooping would have been different. Come
on.
I'm just gonna put that out there.
Okay. You can love the queen, but you still gotta
Don't you judge me for this.
I'm not judging you. I'm just saying.
Well,
David Ajula, who's Cleveland Booker. Yeah. He sat there and was like, yo, why'd you hit my ship? He was like, this angel just fell from heaven. You know how many pickup lines have been said? You must be an angel because you fell from heaven. Blah, blah, blah. He literally had that.
But that wasn't Book's objective, man.
It wasn't. He was on a mission.
Yeah.
He was on a mission.
Chasing him.
I hear you guys.
Exactly. I'm trying not to die. You trying to get your number, and he trying to live.
Yo, literally everything is trying to kill you. I mean, even ice is trying to kill you. So
everything's trying to kill you. The last thing you trying to do is get laid. What you doing?
Hey. This angel done fell into my ship.
Out of here.
She done asked me a question like, "Where am I?" I'm like, "You with the God right now."
Thankfully, it's a little bit. He was a little bit more serious for the mission that he was on, as were the writers, because this is not a Starz show.
Yeah. Right. Every time he had an encounter with a foul woman, like he got.
Hey, they had a brother that directed this, but with no brothers actually writing this, because we know it would have been a whole different story.
It would not have been. It would have
turned into a Pam Grier / Isaac Hayes
Anyways,
movie.
let's move forward. Okay, so can we talk about the fact that the battle scene that when they got captured? That was
dope. That was really
dope.
It was dope. I mean, the whole entire scene, how they set it up, and they actually got close to each other because they both kick ass.
And they both set each other up. I mean, like he set her up, she set him back up, and then they find themselves back to back, having to battle out of the situation.
Well,
and I thought
let's we can get to there, right? He explained to her the burn. She's like, "What's that?" He's like,
"Yeah, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that."
He was like, "Let me tell you about the burn, you dumb girl, because you don't know where you're from." She's like, "I'm from the past, and I moved to the future." He's like, yeah, Angel, you came to the future to be with me, but he didn't say that he should have.
Good Lord. The burn to me was one of the contrived elements of the series that got on my
Let's not talk about the burn like that.
It's the main plot.
Let's not talk about the burn.
And I got some questions, and I got some thoughts when we get further on.
I mean, and I was with the burn until the last two episodes.
Yeah, I was.
Exactly. Okay, so we just gonna jump into it. So let's go. So since you brought it up, let's jump into
the burn. That's the burn.
Hey, one mic.
Right.
Hey, let's be honest. Let's be honest, though, right? The burn was a dope idea initially, and they gave us the fucking Game of Thrones ending. They gave us the Game of Thrones lost ending to it. But we were going to talk about the burn when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be interesting." The dilithium exploded. Wow.
Yes, all the dilithium in the galaxy just exploded.
Right.
That
destroyed Starfleet. Destroyed Starfleet. So the United Federation of Planets no longer exists because Starfleet doesn't exist.
I mean, it exists. It's just a former shell of itself. Right?
Well, yeah, because you can't get out to protect the people.
Right. And what was really shocking was it's like Earth didn't even fuck with the Federation. When Earth don't fuck, when it's called the USS Discovery and Earth don't fuck with it, it's like, oh my God, like we're in a new world now.
Yeah. Yo, they knocked on Earth door. Earth opened up the latch and was like,
nah.
I don't know what
I don't know what you want, but we ain't got none.
We'll get there.
Trying to sell them Girl Scout cookies. We haven't had them in 1,000 years. Bye.
We'll get there. We'll get there. It was like, bye, Felicia. We'll get there. But the first episode, they walk up into the base, and it started to feel like a comedy spoof at first initially. That's how I initially thought it was. It was like, this is kind of spoofy, but it hit. I was like, okay, this makes sense. It feels good. There was a kick-ass karate scene, a fight scene in it. It told a really good story. What do y'all think?
Sorry, I totally. What do you mean? What do they think?
What do you think about that first episode when they walked in and you saw the aliens and people were running around and you realized this planet may not be part of the Federation?
It was that first episode was a little jarring to me because it's because like what was said earlier, everything changed so drastically.
It's the future.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to get my sea legs through the whole first episode. And I honestly probably didn't get my sea legs until about midway through the second episode.
Same here.
I was still just trying to get my bearings. It was hard for me to like really judge that first episode.
I can tell you for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Syntell, at the end of the first episode, isn't that when Book helped her finally find her way to the last remaining base of Starfleet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's when I got misty. That whole scene with the man who had been waiting, it reminded me of the night at the end of Indiana Jones who had been waiting with the Holy Grail.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? I got chills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had been waiting and he was just waiting for someone to like salute.
For officer to
come
in.
Oh God. And I was just in tears. Yeah. He got me. I was like, can we keep him?
Yes.
Because yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
what's that show on TV that makes everybody cry every episode?
Ooh.
This Is Us.
This Is Us. Thank you.
That's what this was.
They're trying to go for it. They were going for it.
Every episode they tried to go for it.
Hold on. Can we talk about Book being dope as shit and having a dope ass ship?
John was still out for me on Book.
Everything about Book I thought thought Boog was dope. I thought he was.
Yeah, eventually, but that first episode, the jury was
I thought he was dope in the first episode.
I actually really liked him in the first episode.
Okay.
I thought he was dope in the first episode. He started to wear on me a little bit with his like, oh, I don't want to be in Starfleet. Woe is me. I'm a loner. I'm leaving. Where's my cat?
He's from The Wire. He's like a character from The Wire that got thrown into the future. That's what he reminded me of. Like him, the Stringer Bell
from The Wire thrown in the future.
I don't see him as The Wire. I just thought him as almost a kind of Han Solo kind of dude. Like he's kind of.
He really wanted to be Han Solo. He was more Lando Calrissian.
Moving throughout the universe. He
was more Lando. He really wanted to be.
Okay, we'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving because we already touched on the second episode where they went to Starfleet and Starfleet was a shadow of
the second episode. I thought when
second episode when we found the
came through the wormhole.
Yes, when the Discovery.
Yeah, so we get the first unveil of Discovery.
Which pisses me off a few points in there, and this is where I think we started to get those contrived plot points.
The second episode is called Far From Home. So they're not home. Olatunde. So let's give to Olatunde on the first episode. You know, he's the director. There were no white people in the first episode of Star Trek Discovery season 3.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't. I don't even think I noticed it. I didn't until I went on social media and I was like, oh, okay, I guess you're right.
Yeah. I definitely did. I thought that was pretty dope. But at the same time, there were some aliens, so we don't know what color they were.
They were alien colors
underneath. No, I mean the actors underneath, like the only human faces we saw were actors of color.
Absolutely, they were.
But I mean, it was definitely something that was interesting to me. However, it is the galaxy per se, and the universe, and I kind of want, unless you told me that was a planet that was all black people all the time and aliens, then I would okay, she found a black planet. I don't know how you found that, but can I go?
We did have Asians in the episode. We had Asians. We had Pacific Islanders in the episode. We had blacks in the episode. We had Indians in the episode. We had aliens. I thought that was amazing.
I thought the first episode was good. The episode 2 for me was like wah. I was like, how much longer is this?
Started to get into those contrived plot points.
I mean, like they in the frozen tundra.
Yeah, when they go to the bar,
the pissed off ice.
And then like,
comes in and she's about to kill the one dude, and Saru is like, no. I was like, this is gonna come back. Here's a contrived plot point.
Hey guys, y'all are talking all around the show. Y'all ain't told what the plot. You got the bar and everything. People are like watching this.
And that's the point. We don't know the plot of the story, so that's why we going on like.
For those that are watching here, so the Star Trek Discovery actually came through the wormhole and they crashed. They crashed on the planet where the ice glaciers was taking over the ship. And they didn't know what happened.
Predatory is what they kept.
Right, but here's the thing, and this is my point. Between episode 1 and 2, other than the fact that Discovery jumped through a wormhole and there has been a burn
into the future
900 years, we don't know,
they don't know that.
A storyline.
Yeah, there's no storyline. They're just these are definitely set up episodes.
These are set up moments where nothing has been established. They're trying to find each other. They're trying to establish that Michael Burnham is this fish out of water who had to figure out how to live without her team in a world that is unfamiliar to her. Cut to episode 2, they're stuck in the wormhole. They finally get where they're going. They don't know they're behind the 8 ball, and they don't know where Michael is. So everybody's trying to find each other. So that was my point in saying that we don't know. No,
Star Trek Discovery was trying to find Michael. It's so funny. They're just trying to find Michael.
It was it. And I'm like...
And then they're going on a Discovery mission, just going out exploring. And they take Tilly and Saru. Like, Tilly's not the person that I take to go
She's the first officer,
unknown... She's
the first officer.
She still was insignia. What is it called?
She's still ensign. It has not been established. She has not been.
And even a security officer is like, you taking her with you? I just thought that was ridiculous. I didn't get it.
You started on Tilly.
Yeah, Tilly wasn't. It hadn't been established that number 1, Michael had been demoted, or even that a captain had been chosen.
Right.
Because as of right now, that's the next episode when they actually get to Michael, when she and Saru have their conversation. So there is no hierarchy. They just kind of floating Everybody,
but you know,
everybody's
I'm just making an assumption here because that's what it seemed like. Like he was trying to do to Tilly what Georgia, the original Georgia, did to Michael when they went to the planet. That's
she was not the right person to me for that. Like, I just
got some Tilly haters.
I'm not a Tilly hater. I just don't think that's her
really
strength.
I'm a Tilly hater.
I actually really like Tilly, but you gotta know your strengths and weaknesses and where your character excels. And we'll get further into this season when we see Tilly and how poorly she managed to handle a mission moving forward.
Okay.
And reinforces this Saru is continuing to make bad decisions.
Continuous.
Okay. You know, hey, from our last week, we just said his balls dropped. When a boy's balls drop, a boy makes a lot of bad decisions.
I guess.
Yeah, but we didn't see that character again. Like that character, like when he was at his height of knowing who he was, that character is never revealed in season 3.
You're always the man when your balls drop, and as you get older, you know.
He went back to season 1.
Choices. Yeah. He went back to season 1.
Yeah, and I was like,
there was
this
a moment
the worst.
which can I tell you the Admiral? Now I heart him. You want Michael Burnham? I have loved him in every single series I have ever seen him in. He is sexy. I love him.
What's that?
But it's like
I've seen him and stuff, and I was like, where have I seen him from?
Oded Ferrer, I think, something like that.
You know that?
Yeah.
I think that's his name. But I love him.
Yeah, you love him?
He's a wonderful actor. He's incredible to watch. And like, there was a scene when, yes, of course, after Michael gets demoted, and we'll go back to that. But then there was another scene when Saru wanted to reprimand Michael for doing something that ultimately saved the crew. And the Admiral was like, no, why would you reprimand? Why would you? That's like benching your like star player. Like
I got the Admiral's name, Charles Vance.
That is not who I'm talking about.
No, that's his name. That's the Admiral's name as Starfleet. He's a Fleet Admiral Charles Vance.
Oh, copy that. I was talking about I was looking for the actual actor's name.
Oh man, his real name is Oded Ferrer.
Yes. Yeah. There was so like Saru kept making like the harsh choices trying to impress the Admiral, thinking that that's what the Admiral wanted him to do, when the Admiral really just wanted him to make a decision.
Yep.
He just wanted him to I want you to show me why you're a Starfleet captain, and Saru never did.
He never did. Never did. Throughout
because he was whack ass first season Saru. That's why.
So maybe that's what Alex Kurtzman made. He's like, yo, OP Saru. I mean, his balls dropped too much, and he he was too gangster, and he would be a gangster. And actually, I'll talk about it at the end. But yeah, so I think they nerfed a couple of the characters in this so far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
it's
like
contrived points that you're saying, oh shit, this is not going.
Well, it's like they didn't know where they were going. It's like we didn't know what to do. They're in the future, and we don't know what to do.
Yeah,
that's what I got from the writing room.
There's parasitic ice. They go to this mining town. Giorgio's with them, and we all love Giorgio.
Giorgio saved them. She wasn't supposed to be with them. She was bored. Wasn't she just bored? Right. And she decided, I'm gonna find, like, we haven't heard from them. I'm just gonna follow them. If she hadn't come, they would have died.
Yeah. They would have died.
I don't think she was bored. I think she loves.
She realized there's two punk asses out there trying to be something. And they need a gangster with them.
I think she was also developing a certain affection for the crew that she didn't necessarily want to admit to. Yes. And so therefore she was like, well, I'm going to go. She said a flippant thing. Like, I'm going to go because, she's not Lieutenant Killy. She's Tilly, and this is a terrible idea. Why would you send her?
And she felt like Saru's balls just dropped, so he don't know what he's doing. So yeah.
Isn't this the first time we've also Giorgio? This was the first time she had a moment, one of her momentary flashes, where she starts to phase out and we don't really know what's happening to her. So I did love that they introduced that element of her story that early on. So even though it was a flicker and we didn't know what was happening. It made sense because
she's in the future now. She's no longer in her own universe timeline, but she's also in the future.
That was the best part I thought about that episode.
Yeah.
When they let the guy go, what are they doing?
Okay, we'll go to episode 3 because we got to move faster, guys. We're moving quite slow here.
Well, there's a lot to unpack. But
it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. Let's go.
Let's say Hill not able to locate the discovery in 3188. Burnham becomes a courier and works with Book, not work for Book. Searching for clues as to the fate of the Federation. She finds a transmission from Admiral Syntell on Earth, but is unable to get there with their limited dilithium. After a year, Discovery arrives in the future and Burnham finds them. Saru becomes the new captain, and Discovery's dilithium is stored on Book's cloaked ship.
Was it a year?
Yeah, it was a year.
It was a year.
It was a year. Okay.
She stayed with him.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. She was traveling with Book for a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So at the end of episode 2, they see what's her name? Burnham's ship hails them and brings them into the tractor beam, and then you see her come on screen, which was a cool moment. That was a cool moment, I thought. Yeah. So leading into episode 3. Ooh, look at you. So when we move into episode 3, it's now like we see what Michael was doing when she found the transmission. So that was pretty cool. Kind of, we got the first perspective, then we got her perspective of how do I feel about the fact that now that I've experienced life outside of Starfleet, now here I have my crew back, the people that I've literally been looking for, the people that came with me, because they're like, we a team, we riding with you, like Thelma and Louise, you know what I'm saying? We Wheezy.
Yep. It was like they waited for Michael Burnham to hop on the ship, and they were like, "Oh, the savior's here."
We've been waiting,
we've been waiting for you. We've been here stuck, and we jumped to the future. We know nothing, and we
she didn't know how she felt.
And she didn't know how she felt, and that's what I love. She had been there for a year. This is the first time she's had freedom, and she's like, "Do I really want to fuck with them?"
Yeah,
and she felt
just discovered emotions. Let's be honest. She just discovered she had emotions.
And she felt bad, and so she's been smashing Book for a year. Because Giorgio kind of points that out. She's like, "You really know your way around this ship."
Did they?
No, he didn't smash.
They didn't do that. They didn't do that until she had. No, they didn't. They didn't do that until she.
Because they had that. They had.
They did not. Because otherwise, that's why she couldn't leave him.
Brings it up later.
Exactly. She deliberately did not sleep with him because she knew she had to go home to her crew. And so when Book actually came back the second time.
No. Let's talk. When Book hit the deck. When he hit the deck, the command deck of the Discovery, and Detmer and what's the other sister's name? They looked at each other like, "You smashing him?" Because I was smashing him. They gave that look to each other. All the women on that deck on the deck looked at each other like,
look,
really?
I mean, it's implied,
even Georgia gave it that look like,
in little ways, but I don't think
it's implied that they had that they got close.
They got close. They were
that
friends. They didn't.
Well, they were deeper than friends.
What it is,
they were
intense. There's an intensity that you can sense between people, and I think that's what it was. Like they should be. It's like, why aren't you?
Well, I don't understand is why he ain't tried to smash.
That's my whole thing. My whole thing is like, okay. Look, I'm with you.
They bring it up.
My thing is,
smash for the
like,
first time.
You doing like life or death type adventures where I got to depend on you. We got to bond. We got to like really get this done. And we living on the same ship for a year.
Just us and a cat?
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. You're nesting.
So I'm with you.
I don't believe it.
What?
I don't think they did because
for the sake of story, I don't think it happened. But in real life, there's no way it's not happening. There's no way.
In real life, yeah. Okay, so people of Earth. Now we've got the young girl. What's the new trill?
Them.
Trill girl.
Them. They, them.
You all feel about
pronouns.
that?
To me, it was a forced narrative. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real.
Yo,
go ahead.
It felt like a forced narrative, but this is the Gene Roddenberry universe where this can be explored So I was like, all right, I can live with it. But it did feel like a forced narrative, especially with the pronouns.
With them doing it, right? But it's just that point. Like, they have lunch together, they work together. Why, when you got a mission that's going to determine the fate of the crew, you take the time to bring up your pronouns, right? I want everybody to have their pronouns and everything. But
Gene Roddenberry, that's his thing, though. But so it works with the narrative of what Gene Roddenberry wants.
And it also works within the universe of Star Trek. If you think about it, they picked the perfect race to bring this up in, because the Trills literally are they. They're hosts, they're symbiotes.
But what you just said there, Courtney, is what I had an issue with, right? They already did this throughout Star Trek. Everybody knows the Trill is they. They've always been described as they since the first introduced the Trill, right? I even did research videos on this,
but it's never been discussed in a Star Trek. Like
Alex Kurtzman. I don't have a problem with that, but Alex Kurtzman went the extra mile of saying, "Hey, I'm going to call this out right now." When it's already been accepted. It's
and it feels like that though. But it feels like that. That's why I'm like, oh, they're going to push this narrative.
The thing, though, I think that it is about. I hear what you're saying. I do think it is about
it's Adira.
I do think that it's about the timing and where we are right now in this generation.
Yes.
And pronouns are a strong,
I think that's what it was.
Strong feeling and an idea for people. Not even idea, that's the wrong word, but it is embodiment. It's who they are and how they are represented. And they should be represented. And I think that we also have to have a way to make it reach middle of America in a way that they can understand it.
I think it was lazy writing how they did it, because they did it better. And every time the Trillers talk, they're always talking plural pronouns.
But they don't. Here's the thing, and this can I I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I just said they've always talked in plural. I dug on that too. I went digging. They're like, here's a million times where Trills have been plural pronouns, where other reviewers are like, you went the extra mile to call out they, and it's always been a day. So you made it a bigger issue than what it was when in Gene Roddenberry's world, it's already accepted.
Here's for me, the way that I interpreted, I hear what you're saying, but it's also, even though they are the Trill Nation, use the pronoun they, it is still always connected to the gender of the host. The gender of the host is still like either a female or a male. And even though they say they talk about the they that have come before them, that they carry with them, and the symbiote. But the character who is the host usually has a gender. At least I know the woman in Deep Space Nine, she was a woman. And she called herself a woman. That was her gender. That was her choice. And Adira made an actual choice. And I think that her choice to say, like, this is the way I want you to address me, is something that people are going through right now. And I think that is something that needed to be discussed. And I respected the way it was done.
A lot of writers would disagree with you on the saying it was already accepted.
Go ahead, Trey got his hands up. Like,
go ahead, Trey.
I agree with that. And I think Gene Roddenberry's universe is the perfect place to express that. But when you're talking about like bringing a new concept, a cultural changing type of concepts to middle America, to beat them over the head with it like that, like you knew exactly what they were getting at. The beauty of some of the things that's dealing with Star Trek storytelling, when dealing with different cultures and races and alien nations and all this other stuff, is the slick way that they can tell you this cool story, and you learn something without even realizing you're learning something. This wasn't that. This was, we are going to put this hot topic, and force you to have to deal with it.
I'm cool with it, but
let's make no mistake. I'm cool with it, and I think it deserves its place in Gene Roddenberry's universe, because this is the perfect universe for it. But I cannot sit here and pretend like I didn't just got preached to. Like they definitely sat there with the ruler in front of my face and was like, "This is what you're gonna have to accept."
Yeah,
and I'm cool with it, but that's what I felt.
Here's the I hear you, but I think, and I can't speak for you, Syntell, but I think for me, the reason it was noticeable that I was being, that it was something that was very spotlight. It was a spotlight put on it, is because this is something living in where I live, which is Los Angeles. It is something that people get, people send me emails with their pronouns in them, so it is something that's very forefront in my life and mind right now. So it did feel like an oversaturation. However, this is not something that is forefront. I can tell you in Michigan, where I'm from, that is not something, at least around the people within that I was connected to, like my family, that is not something that hits them over the head. It would be something that is like, oh, okay. I didn't think about it like that. So I that's my understanding.
I understand the calling out. I think it just could be written a lot better.
I thought
it could have been smoother. I 100% agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been smoother because other Star Trek series have done it and they've done it smoother.
Yeah.
And I think
this is a very inclusive environment. It just seemed out of place the way it was brought up.
The Star Trek universe has always been very inclusive, and for them to hit us over the head with this, like it was just lazy. For me, it was just lazy writing the way they said.
I think that's what
I disagree. I don't think it was lazy. I think it was just something that I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, but the next episode, which is episode 4, I thought that episode with the ancestors was just fantastic. Like when we go through Adira going through like finding Gray, finding out like what she is and what finally how she ended up becoming a Trill, because no other human before her
was ever Trill.
And
her race had not accepted. And the Trills had not been accepted by a human body. So that to me was very deep. And the fact that, going through that trauma of what happened and how, Gray was her boyfriend, or, her partner, their partner, but also getting to see the previous host bodies. And it's almost them accepting of Adira. And welcoming Adira, and the way that the Trill had to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I thought that episode was a better way of actually introducing they. Like it was just a they episode. It was like I am they, and it shows from Adira's Trill boyfriend Gray and everybody like this is what this person is. And this is why this person is this. There are multiple people, multiple souls living in this. Like, and you go to like Polynesian culture and Southeast Asian culture, they have like Mahu culture where people are they. You dress like Mahu is a Hawaiian word that means you're double spirited and you have a spirit from each gender living in you. So you're double spirited and you live with those genders and people address them as they or Mahus. Which is the term for
That's interesting.
And so I found it very interesting, and I was like, "This is how you address this," And so it made sense to me. It made sense.
It was a good episode.
It was a beautifully done episode. For me, and I get that Michael Burnham is our hero. And why Michael Burnham got to be the savior?
She's the savior in every episode.
Good God!
And we'll get into it later. We'll get into it later.
The savior
nobody can beat her in a fight.
Too much.
Like nobody can beat her in a fight. She always makes the right decision. They are taking it a little too far now.
Man, it's lazy writing.
It's so pious. It's so heavy-handed. That's what's heavy-handed for me. Is that I'm like, you gotta, is this person is a deity? Because is she Hera? Like, I'm just saying.
Hey, Courtney, let's keep it moving.
ISIS? Like, what's going on? Oh, now we gotta keep moving.
Because the next episode was Die Trying. Because we'll talk about Michael Burnham when we get to the end of this, when we rate this.
Yeah, Michael Burnham's OP. She's overpowered. She's overpowered.
Oh, man, she's super OP.
She OP.
We'll talk about it. So Adira guides Discovery to Starfleet headquarters, of course, because, she has Tall's memories. She has Tall living in her. And Gray living with her, actually. Nobody else can see Gray. And they get to Starfleet, right? They get to Starfleet.
And this is when Michael Burnham gets demoted, right? after
Yes.
the episode.
She gets demoted, but it
after
seems
what
like the world
happened.
was waiting for a Michael Burnham. Like Starfleet was in this lost in this little bubble somewhere, and they're waiting for somebody like Michael Burnham, but they had to demote her at the same time.
Right. They had to punish. They had to punish her for being the savior who
for
got it
being
right.
The savior who got it right.
You know what you did and the way you did it, I didn't like that. So therefore, you got detention.
She did. She did disobey a direct order. I don't know.
She did,
but she scored the touchdown, dog.
She should have been the captain. If she had been the captain, like she should have been, it wouldn't have been a disobeying a direct order. She'd have been doing her job.
Do you bench Tom Brady when he scores a touchdown?
She had an opportunity to be the captain, and she literally turned it down.
But that's what I'm saying. That was the problem.
When you Tom Brady and you score a touchdown, you don't pull him out the game because he didn't run the play.
No, we're talking different things. In the military, if you disobey a direct order, there are penalties for that.
I hear what you're saying.
That is fact.
But they were like, "Oh, Michael Burnham's here." They were like, Michael Burnham's
here. If you were in the military, it's not a sport. When you were in the military, even if you are right, you disobey direct orders, you are penalized.
I hear what you're saying.
No. If anything, she got off light. If anything.
She got off light. This is her second time. She's literally a mutineer.
She's literally a mutineer.
What you talking about second? This is every Michael Burnham disobeys a direct order.
They don't know she's a mutineer.
They don't even every episode Michael Burnham.
But I get that. But Saru does know that. I mean, he had.
But he doesn't care because his balls dropped and he's proven to be a.
Because he's first season Saru. Second season Saru would have threw her ass in the brig.
It's even impacting the other members. Like Tilly, her homegirl, is like, "Yo, you should have told me." I come into the room and all I see is the cat
for the first time, Randy. Like you said, she with Buck. She got a handsome black guy. She's in his Cadillac with him. She's been cruising them Starfleet streets for about a year, hustling.
And that's the thing, is that I feel like that wasn't taken into account. And I get the military aspect. I get that. But Saru doesn't. For Saru, no time has passed. For her, a year has. And she's been living without Starfleet. It was one dude. It was one dude.
Let's squanch these episodes together because this is. I think this is a problem of poor writing right now. So we're gonna talk Die Trying, Scavengers, and Unification 3.
All right, let's go.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
So Adira's guiding them because she's multiple people. You know, I mean, they are multiple people. Let me stand corrected. And the Discovery's upgraded. Now Discovery's badass, and they even have a spore drive badass because dilithium's ran out. So they got this super ship now. And Giorgio is still, disappearing, getting sicker and sicker, and everybody knows she's getting sicker by this time. The Vulcans and Romulan people are kind of getting along. They're dealing with each other. And everybody's wondering what's going on with the burn. And Michael Burnham's hunch is what everybody's going to lean on right now. Is that fair to say in the next 3 episodes?
I don't know. They kind of blur together. Which one is the one when her mother shows up?
That's Unification.
Unification 3.
Unification.
And they're going to hunch. And she has this, and they actually, Michael Burnham calls this Vulcan trial system where they bring 3 people in.
Right. But is this, so we've already gone through where she has to go back and get Book? Where she steals the ship.
She
stole the ship.
That's why she was demoted.
She was demoted. Yeah. All this, and she says, "You know what? I'm demoted." Yeah. So let's mush these 3 episodes together because we're going through this too long. It's too slow. This show doesn't deserve this much.
Well, to somewhere in one of these 3, they kind of deal with something I thought was pretty interesting that you very rarely see in television, and that's dealing with post-traumatic stress syndrome. So much stuff is over the top in regular TV that you never really deal with the after effects, right? And I thought Star Trek did a pretty unique job of like, okay, what kind of trauma does this kind of have? Like, because for us as the viewers, it makes perfect sense. Like, of course you jump in 937 years into the future because that's what these people do. But then you realize it's like, damn, these people got like real lives and everybody they know is dead and
everybody
what does it all mean
like
and all this other stuff.
Sisters, brothers.
And they're snapping on each other. I thought that was an interesting show. And then
that was the
it
best
goes
part
on.
of this, and they didn't
I
write
thought
into
so.
it. They
Yeah.
focused on Michael fucking Burnham when they should have focused on this damn crew of people that are 938 years in the future.
Right.
Listening to this one girl who they thought was savior, who doesn't want to be a part of them anymore, and where she wants to be free and she does what the hell she wants to do.
Well, she's had a year to adapt. So and she's at
And
this place,
nobody
whereas
went on
everybody else,
vacation
it's
with
her.
only 3 days have passed for everybody else.
Yeah, and nobody went on
Right.
vacation. You know what? Like, I'm gonna gather my bearings.
They went and
My
sat
whole
under a
entire
tree.
bloodline is dead. My whole entire
They went and
bloodline's
sat
dead.
under a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the tree was a little interesting only because that's like the only thing that they can recognize.
Yes.
Out of
Yeah.
a
Yes.
1,000 years.
And what they say? Let's go do it, y'all. Let's go on Discovery and follow Michael Burnham some more.
Yeah, I've always had a problem with that whole thing with the entire crew signing on to jump on with Michael Burnham. I've always had
entire
that
crew.
problem.
Crew.
I'm like,
Like, I
everybody
would've
is
been
like that.
I would have been like, yo, can I get
My job
can I get a
come to me,
ride
they
with
like, yeah,
Spock?
you gotta
Yo,
go
give me one of them
1,000 years in the
shuttles.
Can I get a ride with Spock?
That's what
Right.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Can I go
Where you
home and see where?
going?
Can I go home and see where all my family died?
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's 1,000 years. You think you? I
even
don't
the
know.
graves are dust. Just
I
about.
just want to go back. I just want to go back to the earth
captain.
where my family
The
died.
captain. Here's the thing about Saru.
With-
He left his people.
Not the captain,
yes.
but the pilot. Like, cause she was really going through, like, as a pilot, you're badass. Like, you're used to
Yeah.
having
Right.
everything in your life. And her confidence was really shaken. Like, this new
Everybody
world,
should have
and
been.
everybody. And I just
And
thought
we
they should
should
have
have
focused a
focused
lot
on
on
that.
her too. And her friendship
Thought
with the
they
black
were.
girl, like they had something, and it was something there. And I thought they should have focused more on that than just everything with
I agree.
Yeah,
Michael
they should have
Burnham.
focused on
I
that.
think that those two are building a relationship in a way that, that
Right.
and I would like to know what's happening with them because they are very interesting to me. Like I think that Hugh and Stamets and their desire to parent, and being able to parent
Yeah.
Adira, that was lovely, but unnecessary.
It was unnecessary. Like they went
It
from
was a lot.
I get that
interrelationship to
Adira
parent
is a
relationship.
16-year-old, you know what I mean? I get that Adira is young, but Adira is
Man.
also a Starfleet officer. So you
Yes.
chose to join Starfleet. Therefore, that's like Doogie Howser. Yeah, Doogie Howser has some parents, but
with
he's
a
still going to
lineage-
job.
With a lineage of Starfleet officers inside of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Inside of
still,
them.
like I get
And
that
I was like,
they're 16.
this.
It
But
went
here's
too
the
much.
thing. I was like, I don't.
It was poor writing. It was poor writing.
Adira is an officer. I need Adira to recognize and get those numbers
Yeah.
together
They turned
and get
Adira
life right. Okay, I need
from
you to
somebody-
figure it out. not
why
your
would-
life, but your job.
And why
know?
would Adira care what these people from 938 years in the past know about our current world?
Well,
They're
I don't know. That would have been
boomers.
interesting.
They're boomers. They're boomers.
They're not. I mean, they're literally a living museum. It's a
Yes.
living museum for a science
Boomers.
officer.
And
For
here
a
it is, you're
science
telling me
officer.
Yeah, I
That's
thought the
research.
relationship
That's
was just too
living
much.
research. Are you kidding
Yes.
me? That's
It was just
Jurassic
too
that's
much
Park.
where it
with
should have
them.
been. Adira should have
Discovery
been
is Jurassic
parenting
Park.
them.
Right.
Adira should have been parenting them
I
versus
think
them not
that's
parenting Adira.
Right. Right.
And I thought that was just lazy writing.
and
Y'all
they just
turned
spent too
Adira,
much
this
time with their
beautiful,
relationship.
this
And I was
beautiful
like,
character.
ugh.
Yeah, it was. So we're going to move
Honestly,
further.
I cared more about the history of the admiral that was inside of her. It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tall,
Admiral
Syntell.
Tall.
I
Syntell.
cared more about him, and they just definitely just glossed over him, and then was like, "Well, let's just add
Yeah.
this ghost element." And I was like, "Okay, I see what you're trying to do with the emotion." But this kind of goes with what I was saying in the beginning with the quick summary. I was
Well,
like,
yes.
they really ramped up the emotion, sometimes unnecessarily, and I
Yes.
think this
It was
is one of those
sentimental,
areas.
not
Where it was
emotional.
just
What-
like, okay, it's a little much
Yeah.
when I'm
Alec
looking at something that I want to
Kurtzman.
pay attention to, and they're not really paying
Well,
attention.
I mean,
to
they were
it.
trying to bring in the 18 to 49 group. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the 18-year-old group, 18 to
I
25.
don't know what Alex Kurtzman was doing. It seemed like he saw This Is Us and he tried to remake it into Star Trek.
That's what it did feel like, a lot like that, because This Is Us can be exhausting.
Yeah,
and
I don't watch This Is Us for that exact reason.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. It is good, but
Yeah.
it can be exhausting.
But
and
I don't
this
need to
is
get beat
Star
up
Trek
for
yeah.
49 minutes. I don't need to
Yeah.
get beat up
And
for
with
49 minutes.
gaping plot holes.
It's a pandemic. I'm getting beat up
Gaping
anyway.
plot holes.
Yeah.
And gaping plot holes.
Time
It's
and
like
place,
Alex
right? Yeah.
Kurtzman needed release therapy for dealing with what Donald Trump was doing. And that's what it felt like. And he hired his writing room to do that, address that. And
I don't know
that's how I
about
felt.
that.
That's what it felt like. It was like you have all these gaping plot holes in a very good Star Trek story, and you're feeling yourself from what you did from season 2, and you're just like, I'm just going to release all my therapy right now.
Season 2 was pure Star Trek. And that's what's problematic for me.
We'll get to that.
This was not pure Star Trek. This was more politically driven.
So
it had a lot of political themes.
Yes.
And I wanted pure Star Trek. I wanted fantasy.
Yes.
I wanted you to just tell me what the burn was. I wanted it to. I wanted the lithium.
Like
Alex Kurtzman was feeling what happened in COVID and took all that pressure and stress that a good old white man could feel. And did his release
But they shot this before. They shot this before.
Not all
COVID.
of it, but they edited and cutted it through COVID though, too, right?
I think
it came out during COVID.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak on that. But
yeah.
But let's talk about.
We're in the sanctuary. Can
we talk about her mom? Oh, I skipped.
We skipped through the mom. Oh man, let's talk about.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for her mother.
I'll let you have that because I don't want to say much about this because I was furious.
Here's the thing, and this was problematic for me with this season, this section, this episode. Only reason I knew about the order that her mother joined is because I watched Picard. Like, I don't know, like I wasn't very familiar. I was very familiar from Picard. I didn't know them prior to Picard. I think I heard about them in another series, but it was so long ago that I don't remember. But because I just watched Picard and it was fairly fresh, I understood the nunnery that she joined in order to, like, when she got back, essentially from whenever, the trip was last time she saw Michael, she came back, she joined the nunnery. And basically that sect, they're basically Jedis. Basically. I mean, they take on the cause. They take on the cause, basically like St. Christopher, they take on the lost cause. So if you're the lost cause, then therefore I can align myself to you and be your sword in the night. You know what I'm saying? And that, so like in that particular thing, and they're not just like advocates, they're actual warriors. Like in Picard, there was a boy, they were always women. They're always women, but there was a boy that was lost and he was taken into the night and they trained him like he was one of these warrior women, like the Amazons or whatever, like Amazons, Jedis, what have you. And so that was not specifically discussed as to who she was, what her sect was, what they really stood for. None of that became clear. And it was only clear to me because I watched Picard, and that was problematic for me. Like I was really upset because I'd been waiting for her mother, and then her mother comes.
Was problematic for me.
The whole
trial was so overdone.
It was like Michael Burnham, the savior. It was like Michael Burnham, her mom through all.
And then her mother is equally as pious as she. Her mother is like basically like sold her daughter. I mean, not sold her daughter out, but didn't really have her back. She sold her out and told everything she said.
Right. And now I need you and you throwing me under the bus?
That whole entire trial could have been thrown away. Just Michael and her mother actually bonding. I would have settled for that. I wanted to see black love between the mother and the daughter.
But you're not going to get
it.
You're not going to get that. That's not her purpose. That's not her purpose in that particular part.
But we already got that version of her in season 2, and she made it seem like she couldn't be the mother she wanted to be because she only had a certain amount of time.
This is a time that she's with her daughter in the future.
And she needed to go, she needed to, like, otherwise the wormhole was going to collapse and la-di-da-da-da. So here you are with your daughter, and listen, I don't need you. Like, it didn't make sense. To wrap her up in your arms.
And I was like, oh, Michael Burnham sent the suit back for her mother. And when they talked about it, I was like, oh, she did send it back for her mother?
No, she destroyed it.
Yeah. No, she sent the suit forward to send Spock the last signal that they made it.
But it was destroyed, right?
It was destroyed.
100%.
But like, it was annoying. I understand why her mother chose to be the advocate per se, but I did not like that every single word that Michael chose to share with her mother then used against her because
In the
that was
trial.
her cause and she was representing the truth.
Stupid.
That was irritating.
I get the reason why. The reason why is because somebody said earlier, I don't know who it was, is that Michael Burnham was turning into Han Solo. And then there was a moment when Han Solo has to realize it has to be about the Republic. It can't be about me, breaking the Kessel record or whatever it is. Is the Kessel Run. And this is that moment for Michael Burnham. That's the whole reason of this trial, like story-wise, is to get Burnham back on track so that she can be the officer that we think and know that she's going to become.
She said that she didn't. Because she said she didn't know if she wanted to. She didn't know.
Let's not stick too hard on this. We know that trial it was a contrite storyline.
I didn't. But can we briefly before we move away? One more thing. It was the element of the Romulans and the Vulcans together, like on that unified court. That to me, like they changed the name of Vulcan to represent to represent both races that are primarily on this planet.
Yeah.
I mean, all that.
It was like Haiti and Dominican Republic.
That she saw Leonard Nimoy as Spock.
Yeah, briefly. That was great.
Dope.
That
was dope. Like Spot, you know what I mean?
Picard's records too, so I thought that was dope too.
Yeah,
I peeped that too. I was like, that was Picard's personal record.
Yeah, that was Picard's record.
I like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was
okay. Well, we can move on.
All three of those episodes were throwaway to me. There's good parts in them. It's like you just give me a couple of good things, but I was like, man, this is poor writing at this point.
Well, that's because they're trying to go for the emotion. Every episode is that. Man, every single episode is like.
So we're gonna do the Sanctuary.
Go for your heart.
And the Sanctuary is like, hey, we're gonna tell book story. And they told book story. I was like, okay, I hope this leads into something.
Oh, is that the one with his brother?
Yeah, his brother.
And the floating mosquito things in the air, and then they were able to move all of the aliens.
But again, they had to do it because they established him as an empath, and that comes into effect later on. So it's just some contrived shit to move
to build up Michael Burnham. Look here, guys. We've been on this for a while.
And to give Book an opportunity to see the benefits of having Starfleet, joining Starfleet and wanting to seek a life within Starfleet.
No, he had Michael Burnham. He didn't need any other benefit besides her.
Because but you can't. Here's the thing. I disagree with that because you cannot find your place within a career that you choose because of someone else. You cannot find your truth. You cannot find your. I can be with a man and then like
part of Starfleet. I thought.
Well, he was never part of Starfleet to the very end of this whole entire season.
Right, but he was thinking about it, and he respected that Starfleet
he thought
came
about
for
being
his
part of
family.
Starfleet because of her.
He did, but he also wanted to see. He liked what Starfleet did to help his planet, to help his family. He liked that they came.
Yeah,
he understood why Starfleet was necessary, and that was the beginning. That was the beginning for him because he was always like, nah, Starfleet, whatever. Why are we even talking about that?
Let me tell you something. If Michael Burnham came to him and said, I never want to see you again, brother, he'd have been like, I'm out.
He would have.
Okay, that's all I need to know. That's all I know.
He would have fought for her. He would have fought for her though. But you can't
like yo, come with me. And she's like, nah, you go.
But he would have been dipping in and out. Like if he couldn't find a place that he fit within Starfleet, he would have been constantly dipping in and out, trying to do his own thing, find his own story, and
that might have been better.
That
might have been overall better.
Well, if they were
trying, have another black actor.
Well, and if they were trying to expand like the depths of Book and really getting to know him, I feel like, to me personally, there's so many different characters where they had time to breathe and build these relationships with other people that's in their world. And then we get to Book, they throw us in to some random planet we've never been to a brother that we've never met, that he doesn't look like, that he doesn't have any real relationship. It felt rushed. I didn't give two shits about his brother, and honestly,
his nephew.
Definitely didn't care about his nephew. I'm like, why'd you even mention his nephew? Why'd you even mention his nephew? Nobody gives a shit about his nephew.
They could have done that.
I didn't care about the planet. I didn't care about the cause. I didn't care.
It was not about the planet. It was introducing Elphaba as the villain.
And
Yeah,
I
but I'm just like, I really wanted
Elsa.
to know book though. I legitimately wanted to know book.
Courtney,
They
could have
wasted all of
introduced
that.
her. They could have introduced her as a villain in 15 minutes of an episode.
And she's a horrible villain. I'm not even gonna start on how
She's
trash of a villain she is.
Okay, she's alpha. Like, that's a problem.
That's what I thought. I was like, dun 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 dun.
Right? I'm like, where's your bicycle? Can we get you a bike? Like, it was terrible.
They could introduce her as a villain and made it a worse villain. They went to this planet and he had a freedom. He was a slave. All that stuff was trash.
I mean,
trash,
of all the women
trash.
in the Star Trek history, there's so many characters that were green. One of them per se was the one that turned people to salt. You know what I mean? Like they're like, I can't remember her.
Trash.
I can't remember her name. Then they're like, I just, why would you make her look, and you chose an actress whose features literally looked like Elphaba from Wicked. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't take her seriously.
Yeah.
I couldn't take her seriously.
We're gonna move forward. We're gonna move
laughing
forward,
stock for the whole rest of the show.
The whole rest of the show.
Every time she came on, I was like,
and it was no setup. The corny thing with her killing her nephew and everything. It was just like, no, why?
And he's like bad too. Oh God, it was just bad.
I felt like this was a parody show at this point. And we're gonna talk about a terraformer. Well, Cobra is visited by Kovac and a mysterious Starfleet operative who explains that since Giorgio has been traveled through time and from the different universe, the mirror universe, her molecules are breaking up, right? And then we go to this planet. We go on the Giorgio's story. We spend 2 episodes on talking about Giorgio. Right? And we know why they did this, to set up her own show.
Yeah, but I thought that
Section 31 or whatever.
Man, they hit us with 3 They hit us for 3 filler episodes back to back.
I liked it, man.
I didn't like.
I loved it.
I didn't like how they introduced it. I didn't like how they introduced it with the random person on the planet and all. I was like,
and
the
door and
the fat old white guy.
Yeah, I was like, you can spare me that.
Did we need 2 episodes?
Like the Wizard of Oz.
I don't know.
He was the Wizard of Oz. We already got
saw those 2 episodes. I was like, y'all could have made this 1.
No, I could have even gone for a 3rd. I liked it. Like I
said a 3rd.
Because it's the first time I got a chance to see a real villain again. Like even though we love her, like but her
she's
roots
also
is
changed and she's grown, and I love the arc that
they could have done that.
showed.
They could have done that in 45 minutes and not 2 hours.
Hey,
you know, my
I
problem
wanted that
with
coup to go a
episode,
little bit longer. That's all.
My problem is I didn't believe Sonequa as the villain.
No, I didn't believe it neither. Over some love interest.
I didn't
Over
believe
love.
her. Over
Over
Lorca.
Love.
I was mad we didn't get Lorca. First of all, I was mad we didn't get Lorca.
I thought it was just me.
I thought it was a little weak. Like, how is he not like?
How do you talk about a Hollywood rule? Don't talk about a bomb and don't blow it up.
Yes.
Don't talk about Lorca and don't bring him in. I'm like, I just knew we was gonna see him, and then he was gonna have some dope,
but because that was the one thing we didn't get to see him with Lorca, with the Michael Burnham from that alternate reality.
Universe.
We never got to see them together. So why
where's Lorca? Where's Lorca?
He just should have been Voldemort. He who shall not be named. Like he literally, I'm like, how are you not gonna show Lorca? Like
I don't get that. Though.
Yeah,
I didn't. It was just, and I get that
I
they had a
enjoyed
whole
loving Georgian's
scenes.
1. I loved all her scenes, except when she was trying to plead with Michael Burnham to become a good person in the evil universe. But outside of that, I'm like, they could have made this 1 episode. I feel like I was watching One Piece at this time, and they just hit me with filler episodes. Like, this is anime. The whole entire season 3 felt like anime to me, of filler episodes.
Well,
like they ran out of manga.
I liked her relationship with the Saru character and how it showed the difference.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. That
you know what I mean? It showed how she changed and how it was really about her and her.
What'd you like
I love the way
Johnny?
she killed Ditmer. I love the way she killed Stamets. She took him out real quick.
About Giorgio. I just like her energy. I liked her story. I just like her as a person.
You like her, but what about those episodes though with 40 other characters in them?
Because they featured her like the cool.
Well, what do you think about those 40 other characters? Could we done this in one episode?
It made me hate Tilly even more because she wasn't even a good villain. Can't stand Tilly.
Oh
Tilly's
man,
trash.
it's horrible.
But
I dug it, man.
Everything else but Tilly. I can't stand Tilly. I
couldn't stand any of them as villains. All those aside of
I can
Tilly,
tell you, I almost
I'm like,
stopped.
really?
I took a long break after the end of episode 10, after Terra Firma Part 2.
Yeah,
like Randy and I, you know, we watched it before the two of you, and we had a moment. We were like, I'm gonna need some time because Giorgio was the reason I kept coming back.
Yeah,
I kept coming back.
Giorgio in those 2 episodes.
I had to mourn her.
Yeah,
I had to mourn her loss.
Yes, after those, I just wanted to see more Georgia, and I thought they just wasted her by doing too much Michael Burnham for the other episodes. And like, hey, we can give y'all Georgia now, and I was like, y'all just getting rid of her. This I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this.
I did want to see that old relationship though, because it's been referenced too often. You know, like the old Michael Burnham, and we finally got a chance to see it. I wanted to be a little more hardcore. I wanted that universe to be a little bit more hardcore, but it was okay.
The writing was poor.
I wanted to
I'd rather have it than not have it.
Truthfully brutal. I wanted to see her be truthfully brutal.
Yes.
I didn't want it to be put on. Yes. I wanted to see Darth Vader. I wanted to see her breathe.
Can I say
what I'm
what
saying?
I felt like? I feel like these 2 episodes were in the holodeck. I feel like these were holodeck episodes.
I could see that.
I would have liked to see like a bigger contrast, like her go full blown Darth Vader.
I wanted to see that world. I wanted to see how it was in the world.
I wanted her to take a moment
Lorca,
and just breathe in the evil.
I want to see what the Terran world felt like when the Empress is on the move.
Her costume,
I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel that.
Giorgio's costumes, all that gold.
You didn't feel you saw that world?
No, I felt like I was inside of a spaceship the whole entire time in a holodeck, and they were in the Wild West telling me a story and her trying to become a good person. But they can show me the other planet.
No, Giorgio was laying in the ice, and Michael's like, "What's wrong with her?" She was having a whole mental trip. She was Alice in Wonderland. She just drank from the special drink.
I feel like they did 2 rooms those whole entire episodes. They were in 2 rooms.
Well, I wanted to see something big because you hear about how she's like totally destroyed the Klingons, and then I wanted her to see like some almost genocidal type evil, like something horrible, and then a switch flips. And then, like, I wanted to see the ugly side of her because we never really see it.
No, I mean, like, they give us glimpses of like.
Okay, guys. Acting. Okay, so we gotta move a little further because we spent way too much time.
Okay, we're going too far.
We're gonna do these last 3 episodes together too because they go together.
Yeah, we gotta talk about the cause of the burn.
The Sue call, the There Is Tide, and That Hope Is You Part 2.
Yeah, and it was some bullshit.
The cause of the burn. All these episodes going to the cause of the burn.
The cause of the burn is the worst.
We spent 13 episodes to get to this bullshit.
It's like, that's it?
I was like,
we're going to do 5 minutes on this, guys.
Had a temper tantrum and that's it? She had a temper tantrum and that's it?
Syntell. You and me, sir.
So
I didn't understand. I'm like, just shoot him.
This Kaplan got into the planet.
Like, why are we trying to bond with this dude? Put 2 in his head.
Because they need the dilithium. They needed the dilithium, and he was in control. Like it was a
not if you kill him.
Not if you kill him.
Dilithium.
Not if you kill him. I didn't understand why they're trying. I'm like, this dude has literally destroyed everything you know for the past 100+ years. Why is he breathing?
They could have put a stun gun on him, put him to sleep, carried him off the planet.
Because that's essentially he has the mind of a child. That's basically
once he's off the planet,
like a special
once he's off the planet,
empty the clip.
Kill him. Empty the clip in.
Empty the clip from the starship. I didn't understand it.
You talk about they need 2 episodes. We spent 2 episodes.
We spent 3 episodes on this. It was
getting tales from Granddad. Boy, you better put 2 in his skull and keep it moving.
Keep it moving. like, okay. So the world revolves on Fort Knox, right? And we thought gold disappeared, and we realized this one little kid that's 9 years old is controlling the gold, and and we have the gate open and get out of Fort Knox of all the gold, but we're gonna keep him alive for what?
Yeah, man.
No, that's what's so frustrating. Why?
It was poor writing.
Yeah.
This guy done killed all your homies and all your kids and your great grandkids and all your descendants. and y'all gonna
destroy the whole federation.
We put the whole galaxy on lock, and you over here trying to find the inner meaning. I don't understand it.
But I mean,
I bet Giorgio would have pulled the trigger real quick.
Oh yeah.
Giorgio would have been like,
oh yeah.
That's why they had to get her off the show, guys. That's why they had her off the show.
But like, I mean, first of all, can we talk about the fact that Burnham, Hugh, and Saru all go into this world? They all dying of radiation. Okay, they're dying of radiation poison. Then Burnham leaves, goes back to save everybody
because she has to be the savior.
Elphaba got the crew on lockdown because Tilly, who is now the XO, and
can't make a good decision to save her life.
Why was she put there?
Who would follow her?
How does an ensign?
Everybody apparently, because everybody rose up. Everybody rose up like, I'll follow you. I'll follow you.
One. That never happened.
I will follow you. I will follow you wherever you will go. No, I'm not following Tilly. She's an ensign. You didn't even change her rank. She's still
woefully unqualified.
Like Cobra Kai still rocking white belts, and yet they win in tournaments. Like, what are you talking about?
You took this white bread girl and made her the captain again, knowing she makes nothing but bad decisions. She is the epitome of failing up.
I don't understand that choice.
And she's a nice person, but the captain? Nah, fam. It didn't make any sense.
I'm like, that's cool to have Joe.
Star Trek has had seasons of dope ass captains, and y'all get this Oompa Loompa to the captain.
Stop it. But
what's his name? The engineer was the only one that saw it because she asked. She was like, "Well, how do you feel?" And he was like, "I don't know about that." And I was like, "Yes, thank you." And then all of a sudden, he was like, "No, I'll give you a chance." I'm like, "What?"
And even the green chick, right? The green chick was like, "You're an ensign playing captain, right?"
I just came and took the ship. Y'all just gave me the ship. Y'all just gave me the discovery.
Full truth, she said. I was like, she's right.
And they brought back the dude that we should have shot in episode 2.
We should have shot him because of Saru and Tilly. That's the reason we had contrived plot points, man. It was just like,
Okay, guys, y'all got one more minute to discuss this.
Wait, I know. Going back to the old folk tale on the radiation planet with, Saru having another one of his emotional moments because it's somebody from Kaminar, another Kelpian. And I'm like, dude, you just reprimanded Michael for wanting to go and rescue her boyfriend. And you making Hugh stay down here. And you didn't rush. First of all, you didn't rush down here as the captain. You left your crew.
Let's talk about Adira showing up. You
left your crew. Then
let's talk about Adira showing up.
Adira shows up like, I figured out how to get through some radiation here.
Yeah.
I got one more. So you mean to tell me this Kelpian has been alive for 120 plus years? So that means he's automatically gone through the process where he's gone insane, right? I'm like, how come nobody's addressing this? Like he should be absolutely batshit crazy, like huddled together, shooting them little things out of his face and all that. But he's all docile and dumb. And I'm like, I thought you were supposed to be aped out by now.
This is what they said. We got to get him out of here in order to save the rest of the universe because he'll blow up all of our shit right now. So we got to get him out. I was like, just put a bullet in his head.
I mean,
but that's not the order of. That's not Star Trek. That's not First Contact. The rule of First Contact. Like, I'm just saying. I'm not. Hey, I'm not.
I got you.
Listen, I don't.
This Kelpian's done killed millions of people, Courtney. He's killed millions by screaming.
He is, but he's also has the intellectual mindset of toddler.
He's literally saying back. About 1,000
Nobody would miss him. Nobody
would solve that problem from orbit. That's all I'm saying. We wouldn't even step foot on the ship.
But they couldn't solve it from orbit. If they could have, they would have. They had to go into the radiation storm.
I get that. Okay. But they should have killed it.
They couldn't. But once they got in there, but can we talk about Stamets and how Stamets had a attitude about, because Michael had to do what she had to do in order to save the whole crew, not just his boyfriend or his husband. Not just his husband. Like, it's more than just your husband.
Stamets got hella selfish real quick.
He got real selfish. Like, that's my kid. Really? That's been your kid for 13 minutes. I mean,
Adira.
Get the least your husband died and came back. You know, I get that. Okay.
Okay.
But you're a Starfleet officer.
Heavy.
Okay.
Nobody seems to remember they're a Starfleet officer.
Nobody did. It got all emotions. It felt like a reality television show that gone bad.
It was so sentimental and
okay.
All right.
Okay.
You know, our producers tell us we gotta go real quick.
We're gonna go into the rating. We're gonna start with the resident PhD in Star Trek.
Don't start with me. Okay.
For those that don't know, let me talk about what we do. We had the binge-worthy scale. 5 is a binge out. That means you love it. You can't get enough of it. You eat this stuff up. You just chomp it up. It's a great meal. 4 is a full meal. 3 is a mini meal. 2 is a snack. And 1 is something you nibble on. It's a nibbler. You're just nibbling on it. And 0 is some throw up. And we're going to start with our resident Star Trek PhD, Dr. Cortney Scott Wright.
Oh my goodness. I'm a doctor of television. So this is for me, like what I said earlier, in the fact that it's not classic Star Trek, in the sense of like, you know, they're following a mission. Yeah, Star Trek always has some emotional moments. You know, you always care about your characters. You're invested in their survival or their failure. Like, you're invested. That's why you keep watching. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that this was incredibly heavy-handed. From there, I'm going to start with the things that I liked and work backwards. Giorgio. Giorgio for me was the whole reason I kept coming back. I as I said, I was devastated when she, you know, left the series. I did like Cleveland Booker. I don't think that they did him justice. I thought he was a great character.
Well,
I think that he deserved more. I think that I did love the fact that they delved into the PTSD as Syntell, because, like, honestly, the fact that everybody was like, "I'm going with you 1,000 years in the future," y'all don't be mad because I'm not going. Like, you know what I'm saying? I did think it was very beautiful the way that they addressed the Trill community, and the trip to it was it felt like a voyage to like the ancestors for me. Like, if you've ever read August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean, like, it really felt for me like aspects of her meeting the ancestors and really taking the bridge, taking the boat into, you know, like to find her way through to find their way through the truth. Like, that to me was stunningly done. I thought the introduction of the new admiral, I thought he was wonderful. I love the way he got in it with the Elphaba character. I don't know her name, and I'm not even gonna bother to try and find out because I don't care.
At the end of the season too, for everybody that didn't know, Michael Burnham became captain.
Yes, we're gonna get there. I was gonna get there. I was gonna get there. You know, because Saru had a whole thing where he couldn't figure out what his call sign was. Like, what should I say? You know what I mean? And like it was like the fact that you were trying things out means you're not ready to be captain. And then finally, when we had the whole situation with the Kelpian causing the burn, you had this phenomenal story potential. And it just went wah-wah, like the balloon just deflated. That was your burn. Like, it was, I'm sorry, that was absurd.
They were like, well, we ignored the Kelpians and it caused the destruction of the whole entire Starfleet.
But and then Saru just like, I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take this kid home, make sure he, you know, finds his people, get him something to eat, you know, get him a real grandpa. You know what I'm saying? Like, get him a change of clothes. Like, what? Like, what? Like, what are you doing? You have a crew that jumped 1,000 years for you on your suggestion that we go with Michael. And you're leaving them for that dude. Okay. And then Michael becomes captain. For me, this was, I mean, it's real hard. It's real hard. Like, it's certain people and certain storylines that are keeping me from saying that it was a nibbler. But I mean, I'm definitely gonna say it was a mini meal for me.
Oh, a mini meal. We got a mini meal. And for those that don't know, a mini meal is a 2.
No, the nibbler is the 2.
Yes.
The
You're
mini
right.
meals are 3, just because
3.
I thought there were certain storylines that they did well.
Okay, if you say so. Johnny Randolph.
I can't give Giorgio anything
Randy.
lower than.
All right, so as I said earlier, I love the fact
Our
that
K
it has
file
evolved
reporting
to
tonight that a close
37 years into the future. So we had to make a future, right? We had to see how the future looks 1,000 years from now. And I thought the tech was pretty cool, like the ship with the bed, the little way it did all that. And I thought the bird shit. I love the portable transporter. So I thought it had some cool tech and things like that. My problem was with I kept saying it all throughout this discussion, the contrived plot points. It just seemed like we were making plot points to try to move the story along. As in season 2, I felt like we built genuine relationships and authenticity. And maybe that was because the way season 1 set it up to go into season 2. So season 3, I guess we created a whole new world. Everything is different. Like everything is different. So maybe that was a setup for season 4, because even though we're in this new world, we have a lot of enemies we've not talked about. Is the Borg still around? We didn't mention the Klingons. We have other enemies and we can explore through this world. So maybe this was a setup for season 4, as the Discovery will venture out farther into the universe as it has retained dilithium now. But still, the plot points and a lot of the things we discussed, it wasn't enough. The tech and the future thing wasn't enough to make me overlook all of the bad plot points. So I'm going to have to agree with our PhD, and I'm going to give it a mini meal.
Okay, got 2 mini meals. Okay. Syntell, what are you giving it?
Let me talk about the good first, because I thought it did have a lot of good. I did think it had a lot of good. One is the production value. The production value was absolutely incredible to me. The sound design, the special effects, all of that was really good. The story was really shaky to me. I had problems with season 1 because there wasn't enough character development, so I can feel something. 2 got a lot better, and then 3 felt like every single episode was like, this is us. It was like they had to just hit the nail regarding some kind of emotional thing. And to me, it kind of like got away from what Star Trek was. Star Trek isn't about, having some emotional pivotal moment every single episode. It's about exploring the galaxy and, seeing what's out there. And it just missed that. Michael Burnham was OP. She's definitely overpowered. I still like her. I wanted to really like Book. I really did. He just ended up being just kind of like average, kind of like meh. I did like his ship. I like what they did with his ship, with using the technology to bend it and move it around. Because every time you saw his ship to me was almost like a Millennium Falcon-ish kind of feel, where it's like a character into itself. So every time you saw the ship do its thing and see it moving around, I thought that was really dope.
It was more interesting.
The cat, I don't get Queen. Maybe it's something I'm missing. I'm not
a cat person.
I don't get the running joke of Queen.
It was more developed in Book.
Yeah. And then and what you just said, when they did get the opportunity to kind of develop Book, nothing hit. Like they had all these great emotional pivotal moments, and I was expecting to get Book that same thing. I was willing to let my guard down so I can feel this. I didn't feel like damn thing about anything regarding anything with him, his family, his brother, his planet. None of that meant shit to me, and that was just very disappointing. The burn, what we said earlier, I don't want to beat it over the head, but I'm like, that's what you give me out of all of this? Really, a Kelpian that's having a temper tantrum, and that's how you're gonna do it? I felt the character that has the symbiote attached to him with all the multiple people, and I think that idea and concept of that character is amazing. I think it's dope. And there's a moment in there, what Cortney was saying, where you got the chance to like get in touch with like your ancestors, and it was so well done. But they beat me over the head with the politics with it, and it made me kind of be like, all right, well, there's that.
Yeah, Dira's dope. She's dope.
Yeah, I think the concept is still dope, and I still think that character can be redeemable to being a more likable character without the politics. But as of right now, at this point, it's just too much politics involved with it. I do think Gene Roddenberry's universe is the perfect place to express those politics, but let's just try and be a little bit more slick and poetic with it. I didn't hate it. You know, I felt this season overall is probably like a 3.5. Burnham was dope. The special effects is dope. Oh, one more small thing. I kind of got to disagree with you a little bit, Johnny, regarding the tech, because it's 1,000 years. I was expecting to be like mind blown, and I wasn't mind blown. It looked to me like that's some tech I would have seen like 50 years, not 1,000. Like 1,000, I wanted to see something crazy, and it was just like, okay, well,
they didn't find how to get off gasoline.
Yeah. So I could go on and on. I know my time is short, but I didn't hate it. Whatever 3.5 is. What's a 3? 3 is a meal, right? Not a full meal, but a
3 is a mini meal.
3 is a mini
4
meal.
is a full meal.
It's definitely not a full meal. It's somewhere in between the two of those.
It's a mini meal with some dessert. No, buffets between buffets 4 and 5. A full meal meets a binge out.
Yeah, the rebuilding. Yeah, the rebuilding of Starfleet and how they're rebuilding the universe is enough for me to be interested for season 4. I'll stick around for that. I can't stand Tilly. I can't stand Saru. And I can't stand that damn cat. So that's it.
Yeah, the cat's got to go.
Okay.
Can I say one thing before you jump in, Chuck? The problem that I had with Adira, I feel like Adira can't heal until Gray is gone. You know? That's the beauty of the beauty of the Trill, is that they are always with them, but they are still individual. They are still themselves, like figuring it out. But Adira can't heal while Gray is still hovering around trying to maintain life. Like, what am I? You're supposed to be in the back. What do you mean?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I understand that. I thought when Gray disappeared those couple episodes, I was like, oh, about time. Let me start with this. It's a lot of filler in this, and it's just lack of good writing. I thought that the first episode, this was a very politically loaded season, and it was lazy. And I think you could hit all these political points and done it elegantly, and they didn't do it at all. I thought the first episode of actually having any white people and people naturally noticing it, I think that was dope. I thought the introduction of a Booker, knowing where Booker got his name from, Cleveland Booker got his name from, I thought that was dope, and why he went by Book. Hugh and Stamets, Paul's relationship, I found it got very selfish, and it got really weird. Because they were all about this crew, and for Paul Stamets to badger everybody for making personal decisions and being selfish. He made a lot of selfish decisions this season. I thought Georgia was made the most sense, and Saru and Tilly, they were just weak characters. They nerfed those characters, nerfed who they are, and then they made Osira, the big bad, and Osira, all she wanted to do is negotiate with Starfleet on how to make sure everybody lives safely in the galaxy, and Starfleet's like, no, we're not having that.
That's literally wicked. That's literally all Alphaba wants is to save the animal people.
Save everybody. I want everybody to live peacefully. And I know my people are wild, and I can control them if you can control your people. And he's like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
I needed her to sing Defying Gravity.
Yep.
They were gonna make her have to stand for war crimes. So
and
who was gonna sign that deal?
Yeah, and she was like, "No, I'm gonna bring you the ultimate peace you've been seeking, and you're gonna make me stand up for war crimes that I committed because I had to ride with my folks. So I'm gonna put my gangbangers on chill on the ice and make them work with you, but you're gonna charge me for the war crimes that I had to do in order to get this power to be able to put them on ice." It was silly. I mean, they to me did a Game of Thrones / Lost, where the last 4 episodes, the setup was really clean. I understood the setup. You got me in this new world. I thought the technology was kind of cool, but I'm with Syntell. I wanted it to be more technology. The best thing about it was the Willy Wonka elevator scene, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is how the elevators move around the starship."
Yeah, that was cool. That was.
And I was like,
portable transporters.
The transporter. I was like, like, we never knew how the transporters operated. This is some cool technology. I thought it was kind of dope. I thought the mirror universe could have been dope. It could have been one episode and they could have made it really brutal and showed how Giorgio did not fit in that world anymore. Now she was pretending to fit in that world. Now she was protecting her Kelpian. Saru, her version of Saru. And I thought it was just poor, lazy writing. It was like, wow, y'all got really lazy with the writing. And I'm one that likes bad stuff. Like, I like rap music with really bad lyrics in it. And I watch TV shows that are not good for you, but they're good to watch. Not reality shows, but different types of shows. And I just thought it missed the mark for me. It totally missed the mark for me. So for me, I'm going to give it a nibbler. I'm giving it a 1.
Wow, you skipped snack.
And I skipped snack. No, I skipped it all.
Wow.
Because the writing didn't hold up. It had all the good parts. It was like all the good parts, but none of the good finishings. It was like I had the perfect engine for a car, and I had the perfect transmission for a car, and I had the perfect interior for the car, and I even had the perfect car body.
And
But
ended up with a bike.
mechanic that put it together didn't put it together right. And so the car
So
doesn't
sad
work.
because season 2 we gave
Season
it a
2 was
binge out.
so dope. Like season 2, I was all in. It was classic Star Trek.
And that's where it fell for me because season 2 was so dope. So the total we got is a 10.5. And we divide that by 4. It's a 2.6. And so this ends up being a mini meal.
A mini meal.
Round up for a mini meal. And I hate to do this to this show because it had everything that I would love. And the fact they made Michael Burnham savior, and it was never about the crew. It was never about anybody in the cast. Everybody depended on her for everything. And it was like Starfleet is 936 years smarter than her. And yet they depended on her to get anything done.
That's actually a good point.
It's a really good point. That's a really good point.
It's like y'all waited 936 years for Michael Burnham to show up from the past.
That you didn't even know she was alive.
They literally made her Jesus.
Yeah, and the history didn't even know that Spock had a sister. They didn't even know there was a Michael Burnham. They didn't even talk about Michael Burnham.
It was the way they didn't interact with the crew well. Like
not at all. Not at all.
Right?
She didn't interact with Book well in this.
Yeah, she was really a one-woman show. Like it really wasn't about the team. Whereas opposed to like season 2 was really about the team. We got special side missions between Ash and Pike. You know, we got side missions with Pike going over to
Star Trek has always been about the crew, and this was about Mike. It was Michael Burnham's show.
This was all like Michael Burnham.
The Admiral and Pike. I mean, we got a lot of shit.
It was like watching Kobe Bryant play for Cleveland.
By himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
By himself with nobody else on the court.
Yeah. And with that said, this is turned into a mini meal. Hopefully season 4. Hopefully the writers are listening to us and understand. They give us more what we like. Maybe they fire that writing crew because it was technically their last season. They bring in some new writers to help out. But yeah, Alex Kurtzman, you missed me with this one. And with that, I think we closed the show. So everybody loves Star Trek Discovery. I had high hopes for this. This is how it ended. So peace. Check us out on socials. If y'all want to know, we do have a contest going on. Jeremy Germ 33, Jeremy Germ 33. He donated a PC to us and launched the new network, the Geekish Network. We're giving away a streaming and gaming PC. Hit us up in the socials. It's down there below. Y'all can see it in the comments. Go in there, tell your friends to enter. And we'll see you next week where we actually talk about Transformers.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to that.
Hopefully Transformers is a better watch. I wish you all well in watching this. I'm going to try to bring back Gavin. So we'll see if we can bring back Gavin
tomorrow.
So yeah, let's try to bring back Gavin for next Wednesday.
You said you're talking to him tomorrow?
Yep. For the Purpose Podcast.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to bring back Gavin, you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. For those that are online listening to us, BingeWorthy is where you want to know if you're worth being in the show. And season 3 wasn't hitting for me. It didn't slap for me. Peace.